Okay, yes. 16 are joined by audio and 11 by web. Welcome. All right, so on the web I have Ashley Diaz, Audrey Abadia, Kathy Miller, Chris Key, Amit Singh, Jaspreet Sidhu, Julie Higashi, Marissa Moore, Paula Kreiner, and Regina Cox, Jerry Reed, and then I have some more phone numbers not associated with the web, so y'all would just be on the phone. I know we have Anna Austrich from TV California. That's great. So what we wanted to do today, thank you for joining us on this coalition call to prepare for World TB Day. We have been working in the communications committee chaired by Julie Higashi to develop some more materials this year than before, and with the help of some key partners like Audrey at Breathe, California, we've been able to do some things that we've never done before. And we also have a couple of great partners from San Francisco, Michelle Gomez Munoz, who's been working part-time for CTCA with T, the other part of the time, and Elgin, who is a fantastic new person there in San Francisco. They've been working on some data tables, which we'll talk about, turning them into maps that we're hoping we can still do prior to World TB Day. So what I've done here is I've shared everything that we have for you in one place on our World TB Day resources page on ctca.org. And you'll see the link to it is in the far right-hand upper corner. And here you'll find links to the international theme that's been adopted by the CDC and some links to those resources relating to those campaigns. They've got some great images, and here's, for an example, the myths and facts about TB from Stop TB Partnership. These great things can be posted and put on your web pages or tweeted out. I wanted to get pretty quickly to
Hi, this is Barbara Cole.
Hi, welcome, Barbara. We are talking about, where to go? I'll have to open it again. We're talking about the new resources for World TB Day that have been posted to the World TB Day resources page on ctca.org. And it's
thanks.
It starts with international theme and resources by Stop TB Partnership, and then we get down, and there's some statistics from WHO. And then the CDC has adopted that global theme with a U.S. focus, changing just world to U.S. And then they have some great infographics. What you've seen before in announcing this call and asking y'all to join a conversation about what we can do to better prepare with materials and messages this year than we've been able to do in at least the recent past from CTCA. And we wanted to share what we have put together and also get your input on what else would be helpful for you to have and what you're thinking and planning locally. So I wanted to jump right to our social media toolkit. Well, let me before I do that, let me open it up to does that sound like a good plan for this meeting, or does anybody have any other ideas, or make sure you want to get something on the agenda?
It's Barbara. Just a question for clarification. So it's the idea to have a statewide campaign that all of us at the local level would tie into? Is that kind of the goal? Or are we thinking it being done at the CTCA level?
Oh, no. Well, it's kind of both, I think. What the Communications Committee was trying to do is create the documents and the access for local health jurisdictions to easily put together something related to World TB Day. So you can adopt whatever you want to adopt. We just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of the materials that we're developing or have developed. We still have time to tweak things, so there may be a few things that Judith will be sharing to get feedback. We did send out information earlier to the local health jurisdictions to see if they had needs or feedback. But, we just want to make sure this is our one opportunity during the whole year to actually talk about TB and not have to go through justification about why we are talking about TB. As far as what CTCA is doing for World TB Day, primarily we're creating these tools, and then Judith, if there's something else that you're participating in from the CTCA's perspective at the local level, which is usually what happens, we can share that as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Julie and Barbara. So, oh goodness, I lost my place. Here we are. I wanted to make sure people who are just on the phone, if you can open up a web browser. I'm just sharing the screen from our website, from our webpage on cpa.org. So if you're still having a hard time logging in, you can just go to the webpage for World TB Day resources on ctca.org, and that'll show you everything that we're talking about. So we have here materials in the works. There's a TB fact sheet. It's pretty simple and straightforward. We'll come back to that if we have time. We have interactive maps that we sent out we wanted some input on. What should we be showing if we can get it? Local health jurisdictions identified in California on a map and pop out information about TB for World TB Day this year. What did you want to see? And these are the things we're working on. We'll talk about that. The social media toolkit, as I said, was a real help from Audrey at Breathe California Golden Gate. She works full-time in this capacity for Breathe California Golden Gate, and they are very interested in, and are members of this coalition, committed to their original issue of TB control and prevention. And I wanted, before Audrey had to leave for another commitment, for her to be able to share any updates about this, to give an overview. You can click through, I'll click through, but Audrey, if you want to talk about this and how it's going and what's potentially next, and we can take some questions about it.
Sure, thank you so much. So hopefully everyone, some of you have had an opportunity to glance at this toolkit that was created. As you'll see, we really describe what the purpose of it is, and it's just to spread awareness, to raise awareness of TB and really focus on it, especially in the weeks leading up to World TB Day. Whatever your cities and regions have going on. So it's created so it's really shareable. Specifically for Breathe California, we use a lot of Facebook and Twitter. I think that's what most people are using, but it includes links and images that really anybody can share with tuberculosis facts and videos and stories and things like that. So I'm open to any feedback. Breathe California has already shared these facts over the last few weeks. One way that we track it to see kind of who's posting it is with the hashtag TBFreeCA. I feel like that hashtag really kind of embodies the effort from everybody in every region. And so you can track hashtags on social media. So far, it's mostly Breathe California putting things up there, but I encourage you all to spend a little bit of time to plug some of these resources and facts into your social media accounts if there's somebody who manages it. Another thing you can do if it's easier is following Breathe California, and it's as easy as retweeting it. Whichever way is easiest. And what the plan is moving forward, in addition to really everybody, all the partners kind of just getting this information out there, is to come up with another social media kit that will help promote the World TB Day event going on here in San Francisco. But also an opportunity for you all to provide me with any other resources that you want to share, so I can kind of just gather all of that together in one document similar to the one that you're seeing now. I know that we didn't quite open up the floor to get that information before creating this kit, so we have another opportunity to put that together. And so what I'm really asking is for those resources that you're really interested in sharing, whether it's a video, a story, or even just a link to a specific web page, to shoot those over to me so I can create a very similar post as the ones that you're seeing now, and all of the partners can share it through social media.
Great,
that
thanks.
makes sense. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I saw that there were retweets or the participation in the social media by Orange County. Mike Carson reported, and then I saw, Barbara, that your health officer has been tweeting and using the hashtag. Very exciting.
Oh, that's really cool.
Right. But one question I have in terms of the tweaks, and actually I saw the sheet that came out. Usually when you send something out, there's some call to action. And so one concern I had was whether or not we would be creating the worried well. They see the tweet and think, oh, I need to be tested. I want to make sure it's targeted in terms of not just a general tweet, but here's the at-risk groups. If you are in these groups, we recommend testing. So one thing I wanted, and I haven't got to it, is actually to have a self-assessment tool. We talked about this somewhere, that someone could, maybe they see the tweet, but then it takes them to the self-assessment tool to see if they really need it. I do not want to create the worried well, to have lots of people calling about wanting to be tested who don't need to be tested.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Barbara. This is Julie, and that would be something that I don't think we're going to necessarily be able to get it out by World TB Day unless we have, maybe a template or something that's been worked on that we can try to pull together. But it's a great point. It would be a nice place to go maybe next year if we can't pull it together this year.
Unless I was going to see whether there was, something like on CDC website. Just think about hepatitis. You can do a self-assessment, and it tells you you need to be tested or not, and it is the same basic questions we have on our risk assessment, but it should be tailored toward the individual. Otherwise, I don't know that anyone else shares that concern, but we can generate worried well who don't really need to be tested.
Yeah, well, we have TB Free California on the phone, on the call, and maybe this is a communications issue that's come up in your discussions for your group. Has this come up, as far as having ability for somebody to self-assess? Anna?
Maybe she's on mute?
I don't know. But it's another...
I know this is Kathy. I know she's out of town, so she might be in and out of this call is what I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's interesting that like at the CDC, hepatitis, I don't know that we have run across a self-assessment on the DTB CDC info. It's a great point.
We actually generated some last year.
Uh-huh.
Let me bring it up. That we put out on the Accessville Walk. Then maybe we could just point to
Tweak it a little bit and get it, and have a hashtag, some sort of link to it.
Yeah. Yes, I think we could.
So the hashtag could be TB self-assessment or something like that.
Yeah, or just be a tweet, so then it's in the tweet thing.
Right, you could tweet it, but then have the link to the self-assessment and then the hashtag to track how many people actually are doing it, or at least thinking about doing it. If that is in fact how these things possible.
Right, because otherwise, we're tweeting, but what are we asking people to do? But we want the right people calling and asking for testing.
I know. We're not really asking people to do anything. We're just creating buzz. I know it's a kind of a concept, I think, and yes, it might generate the worried well, but I think that's part of the point, which is to get people to talk, and it doesn't matter who. But I agree that your attempt to focus the energy is really a good point.
This is Kathy at the State TV branch. Can't we use the provider risk assessment as a template? I mean, obviously we would need to simplify it, but it seems like that's a pretty good template that's modifiable that we could use for people to have a self-assessment, do a self-assessment.
Well, I mean, Judith, is this what you used on the walk? That you're showing?
These are the boxes. This is a little bit different than what we handed on the walk. That was just a postcard. This is meant to be like printable, two-sided for provider offices, but these were the boxes.
Well, I think this is something.
But the risk factors are the same, so it shouldn't take much to tweak it.
Yeah. Right. It's just trying to make sure somebody's kind of reviewed it to make sure that it's appropriate for the general public.
Right.
Okay, great suggestion. Let's put it in the queue.
Okay. Nice. Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Any other thoughts about the social media? Judith, do you know if any jurisdictions have taken the template of what Breathe has put together and then maybe switched out some of the days to do their own kind of tweets that are more locally driven? That's an idea I thought could be easily done. And what's nice is you have like a template, but then you can take things out or swap things out.
So this is my understanding. Audrey, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at what I'm looking at now is the whole thread of who's using hashtag TB Free California.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So we.
I see.
Yeah, you can see that that's something that you can search through social media, and you can see Breathe California has been posting about it, and maybe there are a couple. It's an easy way for us to track who's been putting this information out there.
Oh yeah, there's Cameron Kaiser right there from Riverside. Mm-hmm. That's great.
I'm gonna tell him stop that. No, I already did share my concern with him in terms of the worried well. So for me, it would just having something where people can do that risk assessment solves that issue. And I know we're trying to cause a buzz, but we're also trying to promote the message of only screening those individuals who truly are at risk.
Right,
and I don't want that to be lost in the middle of it all.
Well, right, and I mean, I think I get it. The, just maybe some of the just thinking about messaging, it's not really the test, it's, assess first and that sort of idea, the risk assessment. Okay. Anything else about the social media campaign that that Breathe has put together from folks on the call?
We are going to be distributing a .2 version that talks more about the events coming up on World TB Day, and we can add the risk assessment access to that and assess, pass that message. So anybody else want to send something to feature from your own website or work you're doing that you'd like highlighted, please send it to me and I'll share it with Audrey and we'll put it in this next generation.
Oh, that's great. So then, okay, that's another way to get it out there too.
Yeah.
If you're not going to tweet it yourself or send
Right.
it out yourself.
And Judith, this is Kathy again. Can you highlight what the new additions are in the new version that you send out?
It'll be a completely different version.
Oh, completely different?
Yeah. It'll be a second offering. This one goes up to only, right, Audrey? This one doesn't go all the way up to the day.
Right, it'll be more specific about whatever events are going on for World TB Day, and it was also an opportunity to, like I mentioned, kind of open it up to people to give their input on what they might want others to help share. So just because we don't want to, we already have this social media kit part 1 that's being distributed and getting up there. It's another opportunity for anyone who has resources that they would like to share, for us to put that in one place. So it could be sending me a link to a web page and then just me putting together a short blurb about what it is that's being shared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks. And is there, what's the timeline for the second version in terms of when programs can expect to receive it?
We were hoping to get it out by March 1st, right, Audrey?
Right. We just need to nail down some more details about the event going on in San Francisco to be able to include that. But I guess it really just depends on when I will get material from everyone.
Okay.
Right.
So Judith, when would you like to see us respond to you about our events, if they're already set up?
Yeah, I think give us a day to finalize it. So February 27th, next Tuesday, a week.
Okay, so next Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so and this is an open conversation, so if anybody at any time has a thought, please interject or a question. I'll just back up and thank you, Audrey, for being on the call with us and for all your work.
Yeah, thank you. I have to head off, but definitely send any suggestions my way. It's an opportunity for us to just raise awareness and spread resources. So please just send some suggestions over, and I'll put something together.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all.
So I'll go back to these other shared resources. The fact sheet, very general, it's been updated for this month. And as soon as we get the new statistics, we may throw the new numbers in here for 2017, and they'll have a March date on it in the top right corner. So this is the basic facts. They don't change much. The main thing we've added here is the 80% of those diagnosed with TB disease in health have reactivated TB infection. And we've heard that from multiple places that really makes an impression on providers. They can use this or use things from it. Okay.
Yeah, I think the rationale is just to have like a place to have facts that you can either use it as a standalone or take different facts from the fact sheet, put it into your own template.
And if you need me to do a Word version, I will. No. The second materials in the works item, this is interactive maps with California. And we had this idea. Michelle, I think you're on the phone with us, and Elgin.
Hi. Yes, I'm on the phone. This is Elgin from San Francisco Department of Public Health.
Thank you, Elgin.
Yeah.
There are these two maps we were talking about. One is pop-out information, and we could see if we can develop a map like this that has all of the local health services on it. It's a Google Fusion program, but has there been any progress on whether we can have the cities in here too?
Yeah, so Michelle and I have been working on it, and we wanted to get some input on what data would be highlighted in these maps. And we had some issues, including Long Beach and Pasadena, because they're within Los Angeles County geographics, but we can add it to the pop-up, like you can click on the county and then a pop-up will come up with the information for the county, and so then we can add Long Beach and Pasadena within the LA County pop-up, if that works for you guys. But we wanted to see if there was what kind of data we wanted highlighted in the interactive map, because right now we're using case rate for California, and Michelle and I were worried that might not be completely easy to understand to the general public. This
Right.
is the case rate per 100,000, and
Right.
some counties aren't included in the color heat map because they only had about 5 cases total reported, so then their case rate would be almost none. So we were thinking about active cases or percentages or LTBI treatment heat map percentage based like off of California total LTBI treatment. But we could also just add that to the information box that pops up on each county. So yeah, I don't know, whatever, if people have thoughts, just jump in.
Go ahead.
So with this heat map or with the map you're creating, are you going to want us to send you some statistics so that you can include each county in California?
So we already have some from the CTCA or the CDPH published information from 2016. We're waiting on 2017's info, but we've been pulling. There's an Excel of the raw data from the published document from 2016 from CDPH, so we've been using that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so you guys don't need to send us anything, but if it's going to be used by everyone, we just wanted to get some input. If we wanted the heat map to be based off the ranges of active cases or latent TB or different things like that.
So we need to choose one heat map? Is that what you're saying?
We can make multiple ones, and we can also change what's in each box what's in the boxes that pop up for each county. So right now we have case rate, we have the percent change, increase or decrease between 2007 to 2016 for each county. And also persons, total amount of people with LTBI infection. But it is a huge range, so Michelle and I were thinking for LTBI, people with LTBI in the little pop-up box, maybe we could do a percentage against the whole of California, because the range is hundreds of thousands differences, so it might just be too much. I don't want to scare people. when they look at it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I really appreciate you thinking about this, and I think it's a really cool idea. So the TB cases over the last 10 years, I think that is a really good just standalone map, because we do, we don't want to forget about our TB cases. I think it's, so when you're saying LTBI estimated, that's just a number that the state of California has assigned to each county?
Yeah, I think it's what each county has reported, the amount of people with LTBI infection. That's the numbers we're using.
Well, is that for contacts? Because we are not routinely reporting how many people have LTBI.
No, sorry. This is Lisa Pascapella, epidemiologist at CDPH. The way that those data were generated, it is in the state report for each county an LTBI estimate. Keeping in mind that we're working with multiple modeling partners who are developing a bunch of different methods to estimate LTBI, but what we simply did was we took the NHANES data, which was a survey of a sample of persons across the U.S. To be representative of the entire United States population. They were tested with IGRAs and TSTs in the years 2011, 2012. And they were then, the positivity on those tests were reported by race ethnicity. And so all we did in California to generate an LTBI estimate in the report that's published on our website was we used the rates of positivity, of TST positivity for the U.S. born, and IGRA positivity, so quantiferon gold into positivity for the foreign-born by each racial ethnic group, and then we used for the denominator the totals of each racial ethnic strata per county.
I actually think the absolute number, is that what is estimated? The absolute number of LTBI?
Yeah, there's a number of LTBI, persons having LTBI as an estimate per county. Cool.
Yeah, so I think that's that number is in and of itself is really good, but the other number is to just, okay, what percentage of that county's population is estimated to have LTBI? That would be the other number that might be helpful.
So you like the percentage idea as well as the absolute?
Yeah, but it would be percentage of the total population. You just, because people will say, it means something too when you're talking to local electeds. If you said 10% of our LA County, I'm just making this up right now, so has TB infection, then they know, oh my gosh, the average man on the street may have TB infection versus, only 1 out of 2% or something, or 0.5%.
Okay, so maybe do the heat map based off of percentage of total population, or do you want that as part of the box, the box that pops up?
I think that's the box, and then I think the number,
number has the heat map.
The heat map. What do people think of TB infection?
This is Shireen from CDPH. I think that the only issue with doing the percentage of LTBI, I think it would be really powerful and valuable for people to understand what a big absolute number this is, and what a large proportion of Californians are latently infected. But the way that Lisa just described that estimate is made, I don't think there's going to be much variation between counties in terms of right? If they use the same estimation strategy in each county, then it's going to be approximately, I think if I'm understanding correctly, it's going to be approximately the same proportion of people in each county. So visually it may be a little bit hard to differentiate between counties if that's what you're trying to do on your map.
Yeah, I would think that the absolute number is going to be very different from county to county, just because it's going to be more it's going to be population driven, right? Because is that what you're saying? Is that at the end of the day, the NHANES estimate is normalized over the entire population of California? And so So that's the issue. So the percent, but that would be, I think it's still okay to have that be in the pop-up box, because the pop-up box isn't, it's just a number, unless it really is the same. Otherwise, I would guess that it may be based upon if you're doing racial, ethnic, if that's what's driving the absolute number, then just the way the populations of each county, the racial ethnic diversity is going to drive the number. Lisa?
Sorry, Julie.
Do you have a recommendation?
No, I agree with Shireen that unless, one additional detail I wanted to add about that calculation is that the stratification was done by race, ethnicity in each group of U.S.-born or non-U.S.-born. So the only places we would probably see a huge differential in the total percent of the population that has latent TB infection would be if there was a huge skewing of the distribution, comparing one county to another, for example.
Okay. So that sounds like you would have like a bottom line, maybe legend on the map that say X% of California's population is latently infected, and then you would just have a heat map of the absolute numbers.
This is Barbara. Just to clarify, the map is intended for the general public or for us as public health? I think the general public might have trouble understand some of them, the logic, the methodology. So what's our goal of the map? For public health, then it says something to us, but in terms of messaging to others, what does it say?
I do think it has a role with, like, if you're saying, and I know this goes back to the worried well thing, well, is TB infection a problem in my county? And then you're able to go and you can see, like, oh, wow, there's 1 million people in LA County that have TB infection, which is possible. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I could be one of them. So that's where I think the public
You cut out. That's why you think the public what?
Uh-oh, we lost her.
This is Kathy from the branch. I think the part that would be worthwhile is seeing just the numbers of people per county. There wouldn't be any, description of what the methodology was in terms of arriving at those numbers. That wouldn't be part of the graphic. It would just be a plain number, as you see in column B. In California, 22,359,000, et cetera, people with LTBI, and then by county. So there wouldn't be any description about how that number was derived.
And how do we explain those who weren't selected here, Lisa?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
This is only 34 counties.
Oh. That I don't know, but I assume it's jurisdictions that have TB cases. Is it possible that we didn't include those without TB cases?
Or did you have a cut point like, 50 or more? I mean, we used to have a thing that divvied up what was considered high, medium, low morbidity jurisdictions. Was it based on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't part of those discussions. It came out of the registry with Janice, the head of that one. We can find out. But I could find out.
That might be a good heat map, too, so it's good for the public and good for us. And what are the current high, medium, and low burden jurisdictions?
Right. Because what I would see would be some reporter would be on that, and I would have to indeed explain what it meant, how we arrived at those numbers. The general lay public, most would not ask us about the methodology, but media might, political leaders might. So if we were going to use it, I would want to be clear and be able to explain it.
Lisa, who would be the best person to ask for current high, medium, and low distinctions at the state?
Janice, like I said, so Janice, for the registry, created this table. So she would be the one probably to go to around further differentiation of it.
Great, thank you. So they're on the call. Does anybody else have any suggestions or reactions to the way that the maps are being discussed? Here's another great map that they found. This is obesity changes over time. But I don't think we have that much changing, something to show with TB in this kind of a way. Does anybody think we do? Is there something we could show in this kind of a animated graph, animated map? Okay, hearing none. Let us know if
Judith,
you think of something.
Judith,
Yes.
it's Barbara. Can we go back just for a moment to the self-risk assessment? You know, on the website, on the CTCA website, let me get back to it. There's a Think TB heading, and it talks about latent infection. And then there's questions. Do you have TB infection or disease? Are you at risk? And it's on the CTCA website. And it has the basic questions. Why couldn't that be adapted without a lot of effort?
I think it can. This has been approved in the past to be basically what is included in the other risk assessment. And
right. So long as it wasn't inconsistent, you know, we have a template already.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounded like we had agreed to go forward with that. It's Julie. I joined by phone.
Oh, great.
No, I know. I just was looking for something else on the website, and I just happened to see this. Where I don't know if anyone ever filled it out. Did we ever track it?
Of course not.
Silly me.
It's a principle. This is a resource for offices, clinics, or community centers. So it's not an online survey kind of a setup. It's a downloadable printable PDF.
Right, but one would think it'd be easy to convert it.
Talk about that. All right, so we'll tweet that out.
Judith, there were a couple of images or visuals that we wanted to make sure people had a chance to look at.
Yes. Here we go. We went through the social media kit. Some short videos I wanted to mention because we like that idea, but it might be for next year. We can think in direction throughout the year, especially with partners able to speak more freely. That would be great. And then we talk about the themes. So there's messages and themes that we talked about from the communications committee. For the general public, positive tuberculosis TB test, get treated to prevent TB disease, protect yourself, protect your family. That's getting good report back to San Diego, that kind of message. And then here's a picture. We were talking about attaching to those kind of general public messages. You want to say more about this, Julie?
I don't think so.
Are you showing it? Are you showing it now? I'm on with the email with the social media campaign plan. Where are you with what you're talking about?
Down under the messaging, under 5, below that to general public messaging, and then
5. Okay.
Click on that first link under there with multi-ethnic, multi-generational image.
Okay. Well, go on. I'll find it.
So we are looking for a good image. We actually Anna at TV Free California found us a good one, but it limits its use. So they would sponsor purchase of this great image that we found, but it's not. It has to be limited use. So Julie and I were talking earlier and really imagining that it would be really hard to limit use of an image that we acquired to associate with World TB Day materials, because we'd like them to be able to be used whenever people thought to promote, the messages to the public around World TB Day, but then maybe after as well.
Hey Judith, this is Kathy at the branch. So I understand the challenge we have with the photograph that Anna had found. I really liked that one. I think this one is, it's certainly racially and ethnically diverse, but I think what I'm not thrilled about is that they're really separate images of all these people. Like, it doesn't show a community or a family or anything, and that's what I really liked about the other ones we looked at.
Right.
Clearly people who knew each other and had connections with each other, and these are like individual photos, pasted.
Right. Well, I think the problem is we don't have a better option right now, so if anybody does, that's the ask.
Okay.
And, we'd like to have an image to work with. So we're just sort of trying to say this is where we are, this is what we, we're trying to be realistic, because it's a good idea, and maybe that's not exactly the right image, but I would say we still want to kind of maybe get it out there, even if it's not the best picture. So if anybody has better ideas about how we use a better idea of how to use the image that we found, or we can think through whether it could work, or has access to a different image. We're hoping other local health departments might have images.
So this is Anna from TB Free. When I originally found the image, the one we've been talking about, I only searched through the first 10 pages of images, and there were, I don't remember how many more, quite many more. I just didn't know. I didn't want to look through all the images until I had a better feel for what kind of picture people wanted.
Right.
So if we want a picture like the one that I found, but that doesn't have restrictions on the usage rights, then I can go back through Getty and look for another one. That's not a problem. Since we had already, since so many people already liked the image that I found before, then I was trying to see if we could make that work. But if the issues with the rights are too complicated, then I can go back and see if I can find something else.
Great. Thank you.
But do we have a clear idea of how we want to be able to use the picture, just so that I have that in mind?
I think that's a good question. These visuals can be used. I think this type of visual is being directed at the public, right? So it could be used as some sort of a flyer or a poster, for example. Sometimes if you do have what I've done in the past is if I have an event, I will make just like a foam board poster just to have things to fill in the space if you have a media event. So that's kind of what I'm thinking this particular message was for. I don't know if others have thoughts. Kathy, you were on the calls.
So Julie, do you want this image to kind of be, I guess, representative of this whole message or this campaign around TB beyond World TB Day?
I think so, yeah. It should translate. Yeah, it doesn't need to be specifically for World TB Day 2018. These are themes that we do want to keep transmitting day to day.
Yeah, I agree.
But my question is more like, you want this image to kind of be perpetuated throughout the year.
Oh,
with this message?
I think that any of these tools don't need to be restricted just for World TB Day. In general, yes. From the standpoint of the campaign, our overall campaign for TB elimination.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of thinking that you're thinking of this image as almost like a logo, like a.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't think so. It's really.
Okay.
It's really, it's more like public service announcement kind of, if you're looking at a bus.
Yeah.
Right? So the advertisements on buses don't need to be like enduring and the only image. It's just another way of communicating this particular message, which is TB has many faces, multi-generational,
Okay. Because if that's the case, the one option we have with the previous photo, if it doesn't have to be an enduring image that is always associated with this message, is that the usage on social media of that image is quite easy. So as long as there's one price for using it on social media, and there's another price, actually a bigger price, for using it on print materials. So if we want to just use that image for social media campaign where people, share it throughout Facebook or, Twitter or wherever, then we can use that image as much as we want throughout social media.
Okay.
But my question was, if you wanted that image to connect, like to be the same image on social media as on flyers, as on buses, wherever, then that's trickier. But if you only want to use it on social media, for example,
I do think for the purposes of the toolkit, we did want jurisdictions to be able to use it on print. So it's not an ideal image from that standpoint.
Okay.
I just knowing like the way, but the truth is how many jurisdictions will actually use it for print? Probably not that many. So if we want to restrict, still use this image for the social media, I think we should do it. I think that is fine.
So that was kind of my point, is I think that since the usage on social media is fairly straightforward, I think it's also good to mix up your message or, mix up the visuals on social media, because there's so many posts that if you see the same thing over and over again, you kind of like become immune to it. So even if we're using other images, maybe one that would be available for print later on, if we also use it on the social media, it's a good way to mix it up. So I guess my proposal would be that we go ahead and purchase it for social media use, and we look for another image that could be used for print, and then we can still use that for social media as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go, which is why I wanted to make sure I understood what the costs were associated with using the image. I think it's very reasonable.
Excuse me, is there any way that you can show the image on the webinar right now? Because some of us don't know what image you're talking about.
I personally can't because I'm on the phone, but maybe Judith, I don't know, maybe you can?
While we're working on that, this is Kathy. My one question, though, is if we're sending out this image through a social media kit that's available to all the TV programs, how do we know that the programs won't be using that image in print materials or somewhere other than just in social media? I mean, is it our responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen, or how does that work?
Well, I think we just my understanding is that the social media plan is for particular posts, and I think we just say that, this image is copyrighted and it can only be used in social media posts. And it's not up to us to police that. I mean, there's no way that we can do that, but I think if we've said it, then, we've done our due diligence.
Okay.
Yes, we're coming up to the end of our hour. So I'll share back what I can that hasn't been shared here today with those on the phone. I can get a report of everybody who joined today. So I'll be able to follow up And I just wanted to make sure you see the rest of the resources on here. And then we have a minute for any questions. But all these things will remain on the website and add to them.
So this is Barbara, my closing comment. When do we think that we could have the self-risk assessment? Because that's something I would want to have a link on our website. Do we have a time frame for that?
I can send that right over to you, that link to ours, and you don't even have to recreate.
We talked about tweaking the risk assessment. So is someone going to be working on that? I know there's the one that's there that's not live. It's, you print it. Are we going to use that, or we're going to take one of our current risk assessments and modify it?
I was thinking we'd use what's already posted on the provider page that nobody has raised an issue with, and Jenny's seen it.
Use that one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I found it on the CTCA website. So what I might do, though, is take down and put our logo or something on it.
Yeah, that would
we can do that, right?
Yeah.
Great.
More local.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thanks, guys. I have to sign off. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, thanks Barbara, for joining.
All right. Bye-bye.
This is Anna again. Can I just jump in real quickly about logos? So anybody else who wants to use TBC logo for their county, let me know, because I can get those made up. I finally have the font that we need to do that.
Oh, cool. We got very positive feedback from our program about the logo. They liked it.
Great. So LA
Can I
County asked
share a version? Can I share a version on this website?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, can I post a version to this website of resources with contact me for past view?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So I'm making up one for LA County, and then because they asked specifically, and if anybody else wants one, I'm going to make one for every local jurisdiction. But if somebody wants it, then I need to know who to send it to. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I don't mind being the conduit for that request if y'all don't have another way to list, because I don't want you to get spam through a posting on this page.
Hi, for San Bernardino County, can you please send it to Ashley Diaz?
Sure. Judith, do you have email?
Hopefully we have the log because of the way that we logged in of everybody's email.
Okay.
I would hope.
That would be great.
Okay.
Then I don't have to take up time trying to have somebody spell out their email.
That's right.
Anything else before we disconnect?
Yes. Can you please send it to Regina Cox, Fresno County?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and if people, want to provide feedback on Toolkit, we just want to make sure that we're serving your needs. So please be honest, and we'll do what we can do. But anything that we take, we'll put it in our memory bank for next year. But we're just trying to continue to evolve and provide tools for you to get the word out on World TB Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on this call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Julia, do you want to just touch base, or do we? I can call.